Who would Sir like to...
I'd like to use the library again.
Very well. I will show Sir the way, since it seems the labyrinthine corridors of this vast edifice are beyond Sir's meager navigational skills.
There was a book in the library called Frescoes and Fatal Traps of the Temple of Al-Kali. But when I turned to the page on the door mechanism, it had been torn out by someone. I was going to have to find another copy of the book. There were only 2 other libraries in Ankh-Morpork that I knew about, and one of those was in the Assassin's Guild. Unseen University was positioned along a large stretch in the River Ankh, and its campus was convoluted enough that it was hard to tell where the university ended and the city began. It would be wrong to say that the people of the city respected the wizards of the university, and it would be wrong to say that they hated them. In fact, all you could really say was that both the citizens and the wizards were glad of the wall that stopped them from having to socialize on a daily basis. Mrs. Foames?
Yes, I am she. What do you want?
May I come in?
No, you may not.
I've come about the job.
Is that a fact? Very well, you may enter, but wipe your feet. I won't have the help messing up the carpets. Now, you've come for the job, Mr.
Luton. And yes, I am interested in the job.
Well, as the head chambermaid, the decisions about hiring staff falls on my shoulders. Do you have any experience?
No, but I'm a fast learner.
Well, the pay is $2 a day. There are no perks. If you want it, it's yours.
I'll take the job. When do I start?
You can start now by making the beds. The dorm is through that door. I advise you to leave before the students get back.
Why?
Boys will be boys, Mr. Luton, and apprentice wizards are the worst kind of boys imaginable.
Is it dangerous working here? Only I heard that one of the wizards was murdered.
Don't let that bother you, Mr. Luton. The affairs of the staff are not our concern.
You don't think I'm in any danger?
Goodness, no. The odd death is just the natural course of campus politics, I'm afraid. It's a shocking turn of affairs, but we mustn't question it. Dead men's pointy boots, and all that.
Can you tell me about Unseen University?
It's not the business of help to discuss their employers.
I guess I'd better get to work.
Very good.
The only interesting thing I could find in the unlocker was some books. I guess the rumors about the students weren't true. They did do some studying. What have we got? Occult primer, monster fun grimoire, Full-a-myth, the theory of thaumic imponderability. Lost temples of the Great Nev. The dorm was full of the jangling sense of the students, but the most surprising thing was the octarine board. As a wolf, I smelt the words on the board. The chalk marks showed up as sparkling traces against the odorless board. It seemed to be a list of subjects the young apprentices were studying. Occult perils of lace-making, basic myth and monsters, principles of thaumic imponderability, and temples of the Great Nev. Under the list of subjects were the words, "You must read a chapter on each before the next lecture." I altered one of the subjects on the board, switching the Great Nev for Alkali. Now all I had to do was see if anyone took the bait.
What are you doing here?
The name's Luton. I'm working for Mrs. Foames.
You're the new bed maker, eh? Well, you can't come any further than this, Luton. Wizards only in the library, you.
Wizards only?
Well, wizards, apprentices, and orangutans.
Are you a porter?
No, I'm a Bledlow. And there's a difference, all right?
What's a Bledlow?
We look after the students.
Look after them?
Just like the watch looks after the city.
You throw your weight around and beat them senseless when they do something wrong?
It's about the size of it, yeah. You don't mess with the lobsters.
Lobsters?
Just a nickname we've picked up over the years.
Why?
If you see us get our hands on a student, you'll understand.
You make it sound like you're hunting them down.
Of course, all students are guilty of everything.
Where are all the students?
They're off playing Unseen University Challenge against the students from the Assassin's Guild.
What does that involve?
I don't know. Given the way most sports are conducted round here, it probably involves a very careful inspection of half the pubs in Ankh-Morpork.
What makes you say that?
Heard of the City and Guilds?
No.
When the guilds started setting up their own colleges, there was a lot of rivalry between the various students.
Rivalry?
Well, the university students used to be ambushed by gangs from the guilds, really.
Used to be?
Well, given the faculty's relaxed attitude to sudden death, most of the staff prefer dead students on account of them being easier to teach. But I gather the guilds decided that enough was enough because all the bodies around the place made it very hard to open doors.
So what did they do?
They founded the City and Guilds Match. See, the idea was to carry a football right from the outskirts of the Shades to the Tower of Art, goals being scored by kicking the ball through the door of certain landmarks.
What sort of landmarks?
The sort with names like the Mended Drum, Bunch of Grapes. The scoring team was bought drinks by the other teams, you see. And after a few years, the Arch-Chancellor ruled that only one goal could be scored in each pub, since the match had, for 3 years running, it had gone on for a month.
What's this got to do with Unseen University Challenge?
Well, the university tends to leave the City and Guilds Match to the guilds. They prefer a more cerebral challenge.
Such as going straight to the pub, not passing go, and not bothering to come back?
That'd be my guess, yes.
So they're not coming back?
Well, they'll be back. They need to come to the library to get their course books.
Have you heard the expression, dead men's pointy boots?
Of course.
What does it mean?
Well, towards the upper levels of magic, where the number of positions get few and far between, wizards advance primarily by the untimely death of their bosses.
And the pointy boots?
Well, the point is, no questions are asked as to the emptying of those pointy boots.
I hear the reader of esoteric occultism was murdered.
Yep, old Mathan was so full of poison, even the worms wouldn't touch him.
He was poisoned?
That's right. Right here in the Widdershins wing of the university.
You don't sound concerned.
I just keep an eye on the students. The wizards can do what they like to each other.
Well, I'd better leave you to it. Mrs. Folmes?
Well, what do you want? I haven't got time to waste talking to you, you know.
The wizard was poisoned, I hear.
I think you could use a little less gossip and a lot more work, Mr. Luton.
I guess I'd better get to work.
Indeed you should.
What have we got? Occult primer, monster fun grimoire, Full-O-Myth, the theory of thaumic imponderability. I had a feeling I wasn't going to get away with stealing the book. A copy of Frescoes and Fatal Traps of the Temples of Alkali miraculously appeared after I changed the octarin board. I guess the students took their studies more seriously than I thought, but fortunately they still didn't have much idea what it was they were studying most of the time. The pendant's design matched the one in the book for the seal of the temple of Anu at Alkali. The temple was famed for its intricate door mechanism, and the book described how to manipulate the seal to open the temple doors. I used the same method on the pendant, and it opened with a faint click. Inside was a small piece of paper with names on it. One name leapt out at me. Therma. I decided to keep the list to myself. Back behind the desk, I see.
Hello, Luton.
What about this merchant that you said was murdered?
I can't discuss that with you.
Well, you must be able to tell me something.
The guilds like to keep these disputes to themselves. You know what I mean? You'll have to talk to the Merchants Guild.
I guess I'll see you around, Nobby. I'll try to avoid it, though. Let's face it, Nobby was no oil painting. Unless someone did it with their foot. The Merchants' Guild was the youngest of the Ankh-Morpork guilds, founded in self-defense by the city's traders and shopkeepers, when they realized their role in the grand scheme of things was to be robbed. Robbing fat merchants, it seemed, was a perfectly socially acceptable, even heroic thing to do. Consequently, they weren't the friendliest of guilds either. I wasn't holding out much hope that they'd help me. Evening.
Usually is when the sun sets.
Is everyone in this city a smart aleck?
Who's he?
He used to be a regular at the Mended Drum. He made a reputation as a know-it-all.
Used to be?
The Mended Drum is a bad place to use the phrase, no.
Where did they find his body?
The Shades. And the Diesel Gate. His kidney down a well in Dolly's sister's, I think. Bits of his innards all over the place. Sounds like he had a lot of guts. About this merchant that was killed.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to discuss the incident with outsiders. A guild policy.
It wouldn't hurt to tell me the broad details, would it?
It would hurt a lot. They'd throw me off the roof.
No one's going to know.
I'd know about hitting the ground.
Is it really that important to you?
The Merchants' Guild takes its policies very seriously.
So it seemed. I had to find a way to exploit that. Can you tell me anything about Matham's murder?
I can't help you there.
Do you know anything about Cypher's murder?
I can't help you there.
So how did you end up working on the door?
Whew. There's only so many good positions to go around.
I take it this isn't one of them.
Oh, it's not that bad. I get to hear all the interesting news with this job.
And has anything interesting happened recently?
Oh, yes.
Such as?
We got a new kettle. Much nicer than the one with the leak that we used to use.
You boiled water in a kettle with a hole?
Well, we made a lot of steam anyway. It wouldn't stay in the cups, though.
And that's the most exciting thing that's happened here.
Oh, exciting. If you want exciting, you should see the new colour scheme in the coin-shaving room.
Come on. Someone was murdered. Wasn't that exciting?
Oh, sure.
Why didn't you mention that?
A guild policy. We're not to discuss the incident with outsiders.
What's all this about coin shaving?
You haven't heard of coin shaving?
No, I didn't even know they grew hair.
Well, you take a coin and you carefully shave off some of the gold, which you can then melt down and sell. Easy money.
I think I see a problem with that.
Yeah?
Well, I didn't think there was any gold in Ankh-Morpork dollars.
Well, there isn't. Not anymore. We kind of shaved them too much.
So what do you use the coin shaving room for?
We keep the kettle there. It sets off the new decor superbly.
That's why you redecorated it?
No, we used to keep the old kettle there, only all the wallpaper fell down.
I don't understand. Why is it guild policy not to discuss the murder?
Well, as you probably know, we formed the guild to stop the dreadful habit of visiting heroes robbing all the fat merchants.
Yeah, I heard that.
Ah, yonder lies a fat merchant, they'd cry, using that special landlord a flagon of your finest ale hero talk. Let us relieve him of some of his ill-gotten gains. Pon my scalliard. Next thing you know, they've robbed you blind. That's the thanks you get for years of service.
Years of service, carefully mixing sand in the sugar and switching the number plates of the donkey carts.
Hey, that's a very stilted view. What about all the other top-quality bargains we offer?
Ah, yes. All those once-in-a-lifetime, never-to-be-repeated, absolutely didn't fall off the back of a cart offers?
Exactly. Plus, we keep the economy of the city running.
By giving small sums to the less smelly beggars?
Annually, yes.
You were telling me about guild policy.
Ah, yes. Anyway, it was decided that it would be the Merchants Guild's policy to fully further the aims of its members, advertise the civic charms of Ankh-Morpork, and beat 7 kinds of hell out of anyone with a leather loincloth.
Advertise the civic charms of Ankh-Morpork?
Are you saying you don't like Ankh-Morpork?
Oh, no. Absolutely not. I heard what you guys did to Castroaster.
Damn straight. He got tired real quick.
This doesn't explain why you can't discuss the murder with me.
Well, the Merchants Guild is supposed to be the shining beacon that shows the rest of the world how unsurpassably wonderful Ankh-Morpork is.
By robbing them blind?
Oi! Watch it.
Sorry. Continue.
Anyway, the point is, it's bad publicity if we're seen to have a murder in our ranks.
Couldn't you sell it as a tourist attraction?
What?
You know, come to Ankh-Morpork, site of the infamous counterweight killings.
Show some respect. A merchant lies dead, struck down in his prime.
So do half a dozen other people.
True, but they weren't merchants.
So how exactly do you go about advertising the civic charms of Ankh-Morpork?
We pursue those misguided people who publicly fail to recognise the many attractive points of this fine city.
Pursue?
Yes, we hire large gangs of men with ears like fists and fists like walnuts to point out that Ankh-Morpork is in fact a marvellously clean and decent city in which to live. A process whose ongoing nature might be swiftly curtailed if they don't shut up right now.
I suspect they see sense.
Oh yes, even if their eyes are a bit swollen.
I hear up at the Unseen University they talk about dead men's pointy boots.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Really?
Yes, they ask no questions about how a wizard's shoes were emptied.
Operate the same policy here, do you?
What? Hey, what are you implying?
Well, you know, here you are, stuck on the door. Then a merchant gets killed, leaving a vacancy in the hierarchy.
I did not kill Gaming.
But there aren't any witnesses to that, are there?
There aren't any witnesses at all. He was alone in the guild house when... Oops.
Thanks for the information.
Wait. Don't tell anyone I said anything. They'll lynch me.
I'll keep quiet if you tell me everything you know.
No, I've already said too much.
Well, it was good while it lasted. Now all I had to find out was how Gaiman had been killed. And I had a feeling I wasn't going to learn that here. Well, goodbye for now.
Who would say I like...
Can I see the... Still here, I see.
In a sense.
According to the gatekeeper at the Merchants Guild, nobody witnessed Gaiman's stabbing.
Gaiman wasn't stabbed.
Really? How did he die?
He was strangled.
Ha! Thanks.
Blast. I didn't see that one coming.
Well, goodbye. I'm sure we'll meet again.
Oh, you can be certain of it. Incidentally, I rather like your hard-boiled monologues.
You do?
Oh, yes. And of course, the way you can actually think out of the corner of your mouth. Very impressive.
I didn't know I was doing it.
Oh, yes. Take that, you doity rat. Wonderful stuff. Very entertaining. You know, sometimes I've wondered if I should take the scythe around in a violin case. It would certainly add to the atmosphere of menace and uncertainty.
Really?
Of course, I don't play the violin. And I can't talk out of the corners of my mouth. It's a great shame.
Who would say...
I'd like to see... Is she home?
I will go and announce your presence.
You're up late.
I can never sleep after I've been stabbed to death.
What did you want to talk about?
I told Carlotta when Malachite was murdered, and asked her where she was at the time.
I was at a service then. Why do you ask?
A service?
I happen to enjoy services.
I bet I would, too. Why don't you invite me to one?
I wouldn't be allowed to bring an unbeliever.
How do you know I'm an unbeliever?
I doubt you believe in anything.
A man can change. Don't you have a recruitment policy?
I'd rather not talk about religion. It's such a controversial subject.
Reagan's dead.
I'm not surprised.
You don't seem to care.
Everybody dies, Luton. Mundy, Reagan, even you.
What's your point?
No point. That's just life.
Where were you when Reagan was killed?
When was he killed?
Shortly after dropping you off at the Temple of Small Gods.
Well, there's your answer then.
I can't help but notice that your recurring alibi for the murders is that you were at the Temple of Small Gods.
Everyone needs a little solace now and then.
You seem to need it a lot.
I'm not easily satisfied.
Which god is it that you worship?
I really don't like to discuss religion.
Come on. I only want to know the name.
All right. Her name is Errata, but I don't appreciate you prying into my spiritual affairs like this.
Can I pry into your physical affairs?
My affairs are never just physical.
I bet you say that to all the boys. Tell me about this goddess, Errata.
I already told you, I don't like to talk about religion.
She's not like Om, then. He's the god of Omnia.
Is that the place with the Quisition? All the overzealous holy wars and tortures?
It used to be. They had some kind of reformation, and now they're just overzealous about singing rousing hymns and distributing fundamentalist pamphlets in the street.
Well, that's a kind of torture all of its own.
You're telling me. I got cornered by one of them last week. How do you think I know so much about it? It was 3 hours before I could get them to leave. Thumb screws would have been quicker, at least. So, how many people have you killed?
I'm not that kind of a werewolf.
I suspected you were a killer even when you were just a woman. Now, I'm certain of it.
I was never just a woman.
You expect me to believe you've never killed anyone?
I have a lot of self-control.
It didn't seem that way when we kissed.
Don't mistake passion for a lack of self-control.
Do all werewolves see the world the same?
Everyone sees the world differently, Luton. That's what life is all about.
I meant the colors. Do you see the same colors I do?
What color is the smell of the river Ankh to you?
A kind of cacophonous bright green.
I guess we do then.
Whoever killed me had a distinctive magenta scent. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Doesn't ring any bells.
There was something else about it. Like a kind of fluorescent sparkle.
Like a greenish yellow-purple?
That's the one.
That's octarine.
Octarine? Sounds like a type of fruit.
It's the 8th color of the spectrum.
8th?
The basic color of which other colors are merely pale shadows impinging on conventional reality. The color of magic.
Conventional reality?
Or what passes for conventional on the Discworld.
What's that supposed to mean?
If I always knew what I meant, I'd be a genius.
So what smells of octarine?
Anything magical.
Then how come I've never seen it before? There must be 100 magical things in the city. Unseen University should glow like a sparkler.
Mortals can't see it, only wizards. Although we can smell it, of course.
That doesn't explain why Unseen University doesn't reek of it.
Well, it fades quickly in sunlight, and in extreme cases, walks away.
I got a key from Reagan's body. It led me to this. It's empty.
It's empty.
Mean anything to you?
No, nothing.
I'll be in touch.
I'll be waiting.
Still here,
In a set.
Well, I'm sure.
Oh, you.
Who would say?
I'd...
Very well.
The only literature I could find on errata in the library was a leaflet published by Malaclips, who gave his permanent address as the only really holy corner of the Temple of Small Gods.